Welcome to On Par with Maury Povich. Today, we're going to dive into the world of thoroughbred horse racing. It's a sport that's close to my heart, and I'll tell you why over the course of the next 45 minutes or so. I own some racehorses, and I've owned them for about 4 years now. And I'll ask my expert about whether I should be in the business or not, because I've experienced the thrill and the heartache, but not like one of the world's greatest jockeys. No one understands it more, the highs and lows, than our guest, the legendary Laffit Pincay Jr. Not just a jockey, he's a force of nature. 9,500 career wins. At one time, more wins than any other jockey in history. He dominated the sport for decades. He rewrote the record books from his humble beginnings in Panama to becoming one of the most celebrated figures in horse racing history. He's really a testament to the passion, the discipline, the resilience, and really what you have to go through as a jockey. We're going to talk about his unparalleled journey and his love for the sport and the challenges that he faced along the way. If you're a race fan, that's fine, but anybody will love meeting Laffit Pincay. Welcome.
Thank you, Maury.
Good to see you.
Same to you.
I mean, you have no idea. I've followed horse racing since I was, 18, 19 years old, and I bet on you a lot. I don't know if I won or lost, but I bet on you a lot. Anyway, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
You're from Panama.
I'm from Panama.
You grew up in Panama. Your father was a jockey?
Yes, he was.
In Panama?
Yes.
So therefore, was it automatic that you would be a jockey?
No, I want to be a baseball player.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. And I played good. I was good. I was one of the kids that they picked to go to Nicaragua and Little League games, and we were champion. And when we came back, the coach, he called me aside and he said, "Listen, I'm going to give you a good tip, okay?" He said, "You play good, but you're too small. You're too little. Why don't you be a jockey like your father?" I didn't know my father. My father left when I was very little. I just heard about him.
You heard about him?
That he was a jockey.
But
yes.
he was a famous jockey
He
in
was
Panama?
a famous jockey in Panama and in Venezuela. He won some big races in Venezuela. Yes.
So did you start riding in Panama?
Yes.
And then at the age of 19, how do you get to the United States?
I got my license at the age
Your
of
jockey license.
17. And then I started riding, and I started doing really well, which surprised me. I didn't expect, I just wanted to do a job to help my mother, that we were very poor. But I started to win races, and then all of a sudden they sent me a contract from the United States. Mr. Hooper was interested.
Fred W. Hooper.
Yes.
A world-famous trainer.
Yes.
A great trainer.
No, he was an owner.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He was
the
an owner. Yeah, he was a big owner, yes.
And how did he hear of you?
A friend of his in Panama told him about me. And he sent for me and him. And we came to Miami, and I signed a contract for 3 years. Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yes.
That do jockeys sign contracts with owners?
In those times, yes. In those times, we were signing.
Because now you have agents, and you're kind of a free agent, and you can ride for anybody.
Yes, yeah. In those times, they were still doing contract to the jockeys. Yeah,
I see. And where did he send you to compete the first time?
The first time he sent me to compete, he told me, he said, you're gonna go to Chicago,
to Arlington Park.
Yes, New York and California. Those 3 tracks you're gonna ride. And I was happy when I hear California, because I hear about Bill Shoemaker.
Oh, Billy Shoemaker.
And I wanted to meet. Well, I already met him in Chicago because he came down to ride a couple of horses.
So to you, he was the main guy.
Oh yeah, to me he was like an idol,
Not Eddie Arcaro.
No, because I hear about Eddie Arcaro.
Because he was earlier than
he was retired already.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Shoemaker was the man.
He was the man.
So I want to come into California and meet him and ride against him. I I had no idea that I was going to even compete with him. And
So you go to Arlington Park in the beginning,
yes,
and you win.
I did very well in Chicago, yes. And then I went to New York, and I went really good in New York.
And was it at Belmont or was it at Saratoga?
I went to Aqueduct.
Oh, you went to Aqueduct.
Yes, it was in the fall.
Uh-huh.
And then I went to New York, to California.
And did you win all those places?
I won in all those places. And then you know what?
What?
When I got to California, the first race I won, I beat Shoemaker in nose. And it was a dream come true.
Was he upset?
No, no, he was a great guy.
Let me ask you about that.
Yeah.
If you beat any jock, do they get upset if they lose?
Oh, I'm pretty sure. You know, I got upset when I lose many times because I thought I didn't ride a good race. You know, I probably should have done something different, you know. And Maury, there were many times when I lost races that I lost it because I didn't have the energy. I was so weak from reducing.
We're going to talk about that.
Yes.
Let's talk about that now.
Yeah.
Jockeys have to come in at a certain weight, right?
Yes.
And what is that weight?
Well,
Usually.
In those times, the scale of weight is a lot higher now, but
Right.
in those times it was lower.
Like what?
It was like 112, 114.
So you had to make,
115.
you wanted to make that weight
Yeah.
between 112 and 115
Yes.
every day.
Yes, but I was probably the heaviest jockey in the country. I was doing 117.
Even when you were racing, you were 117.
Yeah, and to do 117, I had to weigh 112 strip.
Now, everybody has to know the reason why you want to be light is because the lighter you are, it's easier for the horse.
That's right. That's what everybody thinks.
In fact, there are apprentice jockeys, and apprentice jockeys have less weight
Yeah.
because they're inexperienced
Yeah.
than the older jockeys,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, exactly. And then that's why they gave him more weight. So
Right.
the inexperience, well,
So you had to
helped
get to this 115, 16, 17 every single day.
every single day.
And you had a tough time.
Tough time.
This is what I heard your regimen was.
Tough time because let me tell you why. Because not only did I diet very hard that night, I ate very little, I weighed everything, and the next day I still had to reduce.
Right. So you went into a sauna first.
I jog around the track
You had
first.
to jog,
Yes.
run.
Yes.
Not on a horse.
Yeah.
Jog.
You jog.
You had to jog around the track.
Yeah.
Then I heard that you had to be in a sauna.
Yeah.
Then I heard that you had to have a rubber suit.
Yes, and we put a rubber suit. Yeah. And then go in the sauna.
And so from the moment you started to the moment you ended, how much could you lose? 3 pounds?
3
4?
pounds, 4 pounds, sometimes 5. All water. Yeah.
Is it because your eating habits were bad, or is it because that was your frame?
No, it was because my friend, I was supposed to be a big guy, I had a lot of muscle, which muscle is very hard to reduce.
I see.
I have big legs, I have big.
Were you jealous of these other guys? I mean, did Shoemaker have a tough time making weight?
Not at all. Not at all. He was, no. A lot of jockeys have problems, but they have problems because they eat too much and they never learn how to eat.
Let me tell you how strong jockeys are. My father was a sports writer for many, many years. He loved to cover horse racing. He used to tell me, now he covered every sport from football and basketball and baseball and watched everybody from Babe Ruth on down. He told me the strongest athlete in the world is a jockey.
I believe him.
Because you have to handle 1,200, 1,300 pounds under you.
Yeah.
And and Arcaro was a friend of his.
Yeah.
He said, there's no doubt in my mind that a jockey is the strongest person in all of sport.
Yeah. We have to be so fit, Maury, so fit to ride the horses. I mean, and that's what I always try to do. I try to be fit as I could to ride
How
the horses.
difficult is it to hold those reins?
All depends. There are horses that are very easy to control. They are very, very easy to handle. Some of them, they are very difficult. Especially those lazy ones that don't want to do anything. You have to work on them. You have to work on them, and boy, you better be fit because
You have to
if
handle
if you
a
don't,
horse that doesn't want to be handled.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Can you remember the worst moment that you were thrown off a horse? Was it the last in which you had to retire?
No, I tell you, the last one that I broke my neck. That one, it wasn't as nearly as bad as one that I had in Del Mar. I broke 10 ribs.
10 ribs.
10 ribs. Yes. And
How did it happen?
The biggest. My horse went over the fence.
Oh, your horse
You're gonna in the tape that I gave you.
Yes.
You'll see that spill there.
Wow.
I don't know how I survived that one.
How long were you out?
I was out 28 days.
And is that the longest time you've ever been out?
I usually used to take about a month, 3 weeks, to
How many
to come back.
how many times were you thrown? Do you know?
Many times. I got a lot of
10,
broken
20,
bones.
30?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I lost count.
Now, as you get older, and by the way, you're a very vigorous 78, 79 years old,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Do you feel all those injuries?
No,
No.
no, I don't feel anything, Maury. And the reason I think is because I take so good care of myself. I'm very healthy conscious. I eat very clean.
Right.
I don't drink that much. I drink maybe a glass of wine or sometimes maybe two or a glass of or a drink of vodka, but that's it. It's not maybe a couple of times a week, 3 times a week.
Right.
And I eat very clean. I don't eat any processed food. Right. And very healthy.
You're
very
better
healthy.
You're better than me. Much better than me.
but I started dieting since I was 15.
Wow.
So it's in me, I can't let myself go to eat things that I don't agree with.
You won the Kentucky Derby in 1984.
Yes.
On Swale.
Yes.
That was your great Kentucky Derby win.
Yes.
You won 3 Belmonts.
Yes.
One of which on Swale in 1984. Now, I've got a little surprise for you, Laffit.
Okay.
My father covered the 1984 Preakness, okay? To take you back, this is right after 2 weeks after Swale wins the Kentucky Derby.
Yes.
All right? And I have his column here.
Uh-huh.
And it's all about the eventual winner was a horse named Gate Dancer. Do you remember that?
Yes, I
and
remember.
He writes about Gate Dancer that he was a rogue. He was all over the place. They had to do all these things to get him ready and things like that.
He was a very hard horse to ride. He was hard to ride.
Right.
He was.
So in this story, this is my father writing, okay? Swale at 4-5 was the public choice because of the Derby victory, the easiest in a decade, with Taylor's Special the second choice. But if a horse of another color was to win this race, it would be a horse called Fight Over, a gray colt who would be trying to extend the speed that had him running second for most of the mile in the Derby. Mm-hmm. At Pimlico, speed is supposed to be king. But in Fight Over's case, there were stubborn reservations, and he went off at 11-1. Everything seemed to be in place as the race unfolded at the beginning. Fight Over breaking on top as fast as he could, and Laffit Pincay on Swale joining the hunt for the lead into the first turn, and Bill Shoemaker going up on that position with Taylor's Special, and there were no big surprises as they headed around the first turn. Is that about right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was just as the trackmen predicted, a blazing quarter mile in 22 2/5, a rapid half in 45 4/5. And the strength in the race was where it was supposed to be, seeking out Pimlico's speed on the rail, which seemed to be available to the whole group of the leaders when ready. And then, before the milepost, an astonishing thing happened. Swale wasn't liking it anymore. According to Webster, swale means a marshy meadow, and Swale was turning into mush at around the milepost. Is he right or is he wrong?
He was right.
He was right.
Yeah, I was.
What happened?
I was so surprised. He just quit. He just quit on me. He was pulling the rein at the beginning. I thought I was I thought I'd win the race, and he was running
Which,
good.
by the way, if you do, you win the Triple Crown.
Yeah, I know that. I came that close,
But
maybe that after he won the Belmont, 2 weeks later he
which,
dropped
by the
dead.
way, was a much longer race.
Yeah,
It's a mile and a half.
exactly.
It's a mile and 3/16 at Pimlico.
Exactly. Yeah.
But for some reason, he stopped.
And those things happen sometimes, Maury, that you have no
On good
explanation.
horses.
Yeah, on good horses too. Yeah. Happened to me many times.
Who was the trainer of Swale?
Woody Stevens.
Woody Stevens.
Yeah.
Wow, legendary.
Yeah.
Did he say anything to you after the race?
No, I didn't even see him.
Huh.
I just see the assistant trainer. The only thing before the Belmont, the assistant trainer told me, he said, Woody liked to work the horses fast. And before the Preakness, I think he worked the horse too fast. He worked in 11. Now
He worked at 6 furlongs at 111?
I don't know. Yes.
Well, that's pretty fast.
He said, but in those times, Woody was having problem with his health, and he had after the Preakness, he had to go back in the hospital. So he wasn't there for the training of the Belmont.
Right.
The assistant trainer took over, a guy called Mike Griffith.
So now,
And then he told me, I make sure he works slow.
so
So
in the Belmont, it's a mile and a half, right? How did he fare?
he felt good the whole way. He ran strong. He felt good.
Was he
finished good.
was he in the front or did he come from behind?
He was on the front.
He went wire to
wire?
wire?
To wire.
For a mile and a half.
That's right, yeah.
How much did you win by?
He won for about, I think, 4 lengths.
Wow.
Maybe 4 or 5 lengths, yeah.
Wow. Now,
Very
there
good.
was there's another very famous race that you were involved in. I think it might have been 84. Was it the No. When did you run affirmed in the Travers?
When they got disqualified.
Yes.
That was in 78 or 79.
Okay.
One of
So
those-
this is what I don't understand. Affirmed wins the Triple Crown, but Steve Cawthon was the jockey.
Yeah.
So why are you riding Affirmed in the Travers, which is the last of the big of the 3-year-old races of the year? How come Cawthon didn't ride?
From what I remember was Steven was riding Affirmed.
Right.
He won the Triple Crown with him.
Yes.
The horse flew to California for the season over there. And he got the 2 stakes that he ran, he got beat.
Cawthon got beat.
Affirmed.
Affirmed got beat.
Affirmed got beat. And Steven was in a terrible slump. He couldn't win a race.
Wow.
He couldn't win a race.
The same year that he wins the Triple Crown.
Maybe the next year.
Oh, the next
Yeah,
year.
because he started Santa Anita. So Santa Anita usually started
Right.
in December, and Lázaro, he got nervous, He got nervous and he took him off.
Wow.
And he put me on it.
So you run at Saratoga.
And then for the Stroop stake, I rode him and he won by 10 lengths.
Wow.
And I kept winning with him,
So
But
you
the Travers, I can't remember. Gosh, I am so confused. It happened so long ago. For the Travers, I think I was riding him.
Right.
And
This is when-
he got disqualified. That's the
Yes.
only race that I got beat on him.
But I want to ask you about that race.
Yeah.
Did you really cause
Oh
that?
yeah. It was my fault.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, it was my fault because what happened was Angel Cordero with a horse. I don't remember his name. He was keeping me out. His horse was trying to get out. So when his horse trying to get out, he wouldn't drop in. He's gonna take me out in the second turn, which he already took me out in the first turn. So I say, I better move.
I'll talk to you about you
yeah,
and Angel.
I
later.
don't.
We'll talk later about
well,
you and Angel, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
we go on the turn, and we got almost at the middle of the track, and I say he's gonna take me out again, and then I look back and I see
Alidar.
Alidar on the rail, and the first thing I thought, I said, well, maybe he's setting me up,
Because
so I moved.
people have to understand, Alidar was the horse that came in second every single time in the Triple Crown against the firm, and he lost sometimes by like this. It was very close every time. So they had a great competition, these two horses.
Yeah.
So you see Alidar.
Yeah. So I move, trying to not lose so much ground on the turn, and here come Alidar in the inside. But what happened was when a firm took the lead, he backed off because he likes competition. He backed off, and I didn't realize that he was there. When I dropped in the rail, boy, he was there, and he had to take up, But it was.
Did you think at the time that you would be taken down?
No, I had no idea nothing happened, Maury. I swear you. I thought I was at least 2-3 lengths in front. And I don't know, maybe, the flight from California to here, it was very terrible flight, and thing that happened that it's kind of long. But maybe me being tired, didn't realize that I should have probably been more aware that Alidar was there, but I didn't. I have no idea.
So a firm was taken down. Alidar wins the race.
Yes.
So you talked about Angel Cordero. I heard there were legendary battles between you and Cordero.
Yeah,
You did.
Well, Angel
did you like it? Did you like him or did?
I love Angel.
You do.
Oh, we were friends.
You were friends?
Yeah.
Not according to the racing world. I mean, you were just beating each other up.
The only place I didn't like it was when we were riding. but outside of racing, he was my best friend.
Really?
Oh yeah, we were close.
I don't think anybody knew that you were best of friends.
No, we're friends. We're friends. We're friends. Yeah.
But he was a rough.
But I understood him. The guy.
Yeah. What was there? What was there to understand? Tell me.
I understood, and he wanted to win any cows, any way.
But didn't everybody? Anyway.
Yeah, anyway,
anyway.
But he tried to intimidate you all the time, which is fine. Sometimes you do it if you can.
You're intimidating you, and there's 1,300 pounds of horse underneath you.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. He was tough. He was tough, and he wasn't only with me.
It was everybody.
He had a throw with other jockeys too.
He had this reputation.
He had his reputation that he just. I understood him. Believe me, if I was a trainer at that time, I would have him ride my horses. Because,
you would?
Yeah, because he'll try 100% to win races, anyway. So yeah, but we were good friends. We were good friends. We still are.
Still.
Oh yeah.
Is he?
We talk all the time. Sometimes.
We do.
Talk. Oh yeah. Me and George Velasquez, another great rider. Another great rider that.
So Velasquez, who's still riding, John Velasquez. Which?
No, well, Jorge Velasquez.
Oh, Jorge.
Yes. Right. He was tough too. He was one of the best.
Is he related to John, the other one?
No.
No, not related.
No. Jorge from Panama. The other one is from Puerto Rico.
What is it about Panama and jockeys?
I had no idea, but there are some good ones coming there.
It's Panama, like Panama, Venezuela.
Yeah. Now they have a school over there in Panama. They have a school. It got my name, which I'm very proud.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, there are lots of things. They got a steaks at Santa Anita named after you.
Yeah, now they do that. Yeah, I'm very proud of that too. Yes.
Name a steaks race after you. Wow. Yeah. You had to cope with a lot of things outside of the race track. You lost your wife.
Yeah, that was tough.
In 1985, she committed suicide.
Yes.
How does one live with that?
That was tough, Maury. Believe me, I thought about retiring, really hard about retiring.
But that was 18 years before you retired.
Yeah. And but I just didn't feel like riding. You feel
this was Laffit the third's mother.
Yes. I blame myself.
Why?
Because you feel guilty that you didn't see it coming, And there were so many probably clues that I ignore, that I don't know, I didn't know, and it was tough. It was very, very tough. I don't know how I went through that. You see things like that happen to other people, and you never thought it's going to happen to you,
Yeah.
and it happened,
Yeah.
and what do I do? Wow, and of course she was going through some sickness,
Yeah.
and
And you weren't totally aware of it.
I knew her sickness, but I didn't know that the problem with my wife was that she was taking all these pills, and one of them was Valium. And the problem with her is that she started drinking with that without
With
telling
Valium.
me.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Without telling me. I had no idea.
Right.
I realized it after she committed suicide because I started finding the liquor
I see.
hidden in the house,
So she's the mother of Laffit III,
Yeah.
who, by the way, for everyone, may be one of the great horse racing announcers that we have today.
Yes, he is. I'm very proud of him.
Yeah, he's done you right. And, I read where he wanted to be a jockey, but he was too big.
Yeah. I'm glad. I didn't want him to be a jockey.
You know?
No. Actually, he was playing baseball at one time, and I was rooting for that,
And he's he's acted in the past, too.
Yeah.
He's done some of that. And he's a very, very. I watch him all the time on the races from New York, and so he's done a great job.
Yeah, he's. I always told him. I always say, I'm gonna give you a good advice. Don't ever think you're good enough. Okay?
Is that what you thought of yourself?
Oh yeah.
You never thought you were good enough.
I never thought. Maury, I never thought I was the best jockey. There was too much talent. Too much talent.
You had the record.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. I always thought. I admire the other guys. Believe me, I admire very much. Yes, I admire all those guys. I say, wow, I don't know how I'm gonna beat this guy. I gotta work harder because,
Who was the best jockey you ever saw, besides yourself?
It's hard. It's hard to tell who was the best jockey I ever saw. It's hard. There's so many of them that I couldn't name that I admire very much throughout my career.
Let me throw
my first one was Shoemaker because I used to say how this little guy can make horses run.
So
can
in
be
other
so
words,
successful.
he was smaller than the rest of you.
Yeah, very, very tiny.
Wow.
He weighed like 90 pounds, 98 pounds at one point, but he got a little heavy.
Right.
But, yeah.
How about guys like Bill Hartack?
Bill Hartack, he was heavy guy, but I used to see him eat because he was a friend of mine. He was dating my wife, one of my wife's best friend. So he used to stop at the house after reducing and riding. He stopped at my house, and it was still early, and he had this sandwich. He made this big sandwich full of.
And you would say, "What the heck?"
I used to see him watch it. I say, if I ate what he ate, I had to. It take me a month to take it out.
And then I'll mention one other because I think you rode with him because he's an acquaintance of mine. I played golf with him, Jerry Bailey.
Yeah, another great one.
Good one.
Yes. Oh yeah, one of the best. He used to ride those big races like he was so prepared, to ride it.
So in order to be prepared, does that mean you watch tape? Do you watch tape?
He I don't know why he did it, but you could see that he was very prepared.
Did
to
you
ride
used to
his horse.
watch
Yeah.
videotape of races of the horses you were riding?
No, sometimes I did, but not all the time.
No.
I go by what the trainer told me, and I see the charts or how he's been running.
Oh, you see the chart.
Yeah. And especially in California, I've been watching him run over there. So there were horses that but Maury, let me tell you, in the 70s, I won so many races, and I tell you one of the reasons why I won so many races. The trainers were not giving me instruction.
Not.
No. So I was riding the horses the way I want to ride them. And if they got mad, I didn't care. I didn't care if they take me off the horse because I had 3 or 4 more horses to ride. You know, I had
Because you were popular. Trainers wanted you to ride
exactly.
for them.
I had rising all the races like almost every single day.
So you relied more on your own thoughts.
Yes.
Than the trainer's thoughts.
Of watching the horse. You know, there were horses that they were laying second or third, and they come out, they make a run, they get there, and they stop. And I got to ride the horse. Somehow, my angel put me on that horse because finish second or third. But I look at their chart, and I see that he's been doing that. He's making a run and hanging. Well, I will take him way back. I will take him 9, 10 lengths back. I make one run with him. And here they come. And many, many times I can tell you the horses won.
So rather than rate the horse up high towards the front, you would wait for them to make the big move.
Exactly. Yeah. I did that so many times, you know. And sometimes I come in the paddock and I tell the trainer, you know what? Let me take this horse way back, you know. Let me take him back. He said, do whatever you want. I had, you know, it was fun. It was fun.
Are there jockeys that do better in the front of the race rather than the back of the race? And are there jockeys who do better from the back than the front?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
There are.
Oh, yeah.
Some jockeys are much better on the lead than they would be in the back.
Oh, yeah. They you know, I name you a jockey. I don't think there's ever been a rider like him.
Who?
A rider called Patrick Valenzuela.
Patrick Valenzuela.
Patrick Valenzuela, that guy, he didn't care if he went in 20 flat. He'll go to the lead. It doesn't matter how fast he was. He just makes sure he'll be on the lead.
And it doesn't matter whether
the
horse stops. The horse stops.
You think you had him. You didn't have him.
Oh, really?
You didn't have him. No, he kept on going.
So he would have these real fast fractions?
Everybody think he'll stop, you know, and he won so many races that day until I said, you know what? He beat me in a few races like that where I said, I got him. No, I had to change my strategy with him. I say, I move at a half a mile pole if I have to. Even if I move early, I'm going to go after him. And then I start competing with him because he was beating me all the time.
Did you have a good relationship with him?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Even though we got in a fight one time.
What, fight?
We got in a fight one time. We started beating each other in the junction.
Oh, I love this. Yeah. This is why I do a podcast. Tell me about the fight.
Well, I can't remember what happened in the race. He did something to me in the race, or I did something to him in the race. I can't remember. And we come here and we start arguing and whatever. So
after the race is over?
After the race is over. But
after you weighed yourself?
In the jockey's room.
In the jockey room?
Yeah.
You fought in a fist fight?
Fist fight.
Oh, wow. I wish there was a camera.
Oh, yeah. But we had...
By the way, now I've heard, if you go to like NASCAR, you see drivers get mad at each other and they start pounding on each other.
It can happen.
Does it happen in the jockey room?
Oh, yeah. In those times, well, I don't know so much now, but in those times, it used to happen more often.
Really?
Oh, yeah. More often, yeah. Yeah.
You would go after each other in the jockey room?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Wow. Wish I was there.
Yeah.
It would have been great. Did anybody really get hurt?
So they got punched pretty good. I got punched one time in the eye pretty bad, yeah.
Who threw it?
A jockey called Wayne Harris. He really got me in the eye, man. He just got me a black eyes. And I said, well, maybe I deserve it. I shouldn't open my mouth.
Any other terrible disqualifications other than affirmed?
Oh, yeah. When I got disqualified on Perol, a horse called Perol for a Santa Anita handicap.
That's a big race.
Yes. I beat John Henry a nose. And I got come down. But that one, that was if. That was if. I don't think I should have come down. You know, that was...
You talked about a horse. I gotta ask you about this horse, John Henry.
John Henry.
You rode John Henry.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody doesn't know about racing. John Henry probably, well, first of all, he won more races than anybody else. And he ran in more races than anybody else.
Yeah.
How come? Because today they would never let a horse run that much.
Yeah, I know. Well, he was a gelding, though.
Yes, he was a guy.
And
And he was running till he was like 8 or 9 or something like that.
Yeah, but most of the time, these horses, they retire early because they want him for breeding,
Right.
you know. So,
But he was a gelding, which
Yeah.
means he couldn't breed.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
he was remarkable.
Yes, he was. I
Well-
won some races with him, beautiful races with him, beautiful. There was a race that I won that I won with him where it was on the grass, a big race on the grass in Santa Anita. I had no place to go. I had no place to go. At the head of the stretch, I must have been 12, 13 lengths back.
At the head of the
At
stretch?
the head of the stretch. And I got a little room to go, and he went. And he won by 2 lengths.
And was
That's
it from
how-
the inside? Did you come from
Yeah,
the
I got through in the inside. Yes. And he won by 2 lengths. I couldn't believe he won that race. I thought I had no chance at the head of the stretch.
I mean, if you're behind 12 lengths at the top of the stretch,
He made a run.
which means it's
unbelievable.
what,
Yeah.
the last quarter mile?
Yeah.
Is that the last quarter?
Yeah, last quarter of a
And
mile.
makes up 12 lengths.
Yes. I'm telling you, he was something very special. Yeah.
What is it about a horse that just refuses to lose?
Some of them, they had that courage, you know, but I had to say that the trainer has something to do with it, too. They have to bring the horses well prepared, too, you know. And there are some trainers that are good at it.
Can you
You know?
tell? Can you tell in the post parade? You get on the track. Can you tell he has it or he doesn't have it?
Well, it's very hard to tell, Maury. It's very hard. There's horses that I went to the post with them, and they were jumping up and down, or watchy, or
Washing
wet,
out,
and
yeah.
watched out, and I said this horse is not gonna run any good, and they turned out to run big races, you know, like Bayacoa. Bayacoa is the best filly that I ever rode. She was from Argentina. And I rode him in Oakland in a big race over there. I can't remember the name of the race, but it was a big race.
Where?
Oakland Park.
In Oakland Park.
Yeah.
In Arkansas.
And yes, and she went crazy that day, especially when they had a band over there and they started playing. She went crazy, and she never relaxed. She never relaxed, and I told the pony boy, I said, she's not gonna run nothing today. Look at her. We couldn't settle her down. She won by 10 lengths. She won so. She's probably one of the most powerful race that I ever rode a horse. She was so good.
So everybody should understand about Laffit. 9,530 career wins. Your horses won $237 million. 200. Does that mean that you won 10% of that money?
Yeah, I won 10%.
You won 10% of that money.
Yeah, but the government took a big chunk.
Of course.
And my ex-wife took another big chunk.
Yeah. By the way, are agents important?
Very important.
Why?
Very important. They have to be smart what they're doing. They have to be smart what they're doing. You know,
Smart in what way?
picking off the horses, talking to the trainer, trying to get everybody relaxed and don't get mad at the jockey, you know, don't get mad at them. And they have to play good. They have to play good. You know, sometimes they don't want to ride a horse. And they want to
You mean
switch
sometimes
to a
the
better
jockey-
mount,
the jockey, yeah.
You know, and they gotta have a way to talk to the trainer about doing that. And some of them they know how to do it. Some of them they don't. And
Do trainers get mad if you switch?
oh yeah, a lot of them get mad if you switch mount. Yeah, and sometimes they do it in the last minute, which can cause the trainer to say, you know what, I ain't gonna ride you anymore. And he quit riding you for a long time, which it happened to me many times.
But they came back to you.
Yeah, they came back. Yeah, they came back. Or luckily me, they came back. You need the good trainers, you know.
Right.
You need the good mounts, you know. So.
You ever ride for Dwayne Lucas?
Oh yeah, a lot.
He's the oldest of the
We
trainers.
won a lot of races. We won a lot of races together. Yeah.
Was he a good trainer for you?
Oh yeah. He took chances with a lot of horses. I tell you that horses that you didn't think they had a chance, but he's like, don't worry, he's gonna run good. And sure enough,
Really?
yeah. One time, I wasn't. I told my wife. I said, listen, I'm gonna take some time off. It was a time where I think it's between Santa Anita and Del Mar. I think there was like 2 weeks. 2 weeks off.
Between
I said,
Santa
I don't
Anita
do
and Del Mar, right.
I don't want to do anything. I'm just going to watch my weight. Even though I'm not riding, I just going to go in a diet and watch my weight, see if I don't have to reduce so much. And after about 4 or 5 days, Wayne called me up. Listen, I got a horse in the Super Derby over there in Louisiana, the Super Derby. I want you to ride him. I want you to come and ride him. And I said, Wayne, you know, I got 2 weeks off. I want to rest and this and that. Laffit, the horse got a chance. The horse was like 20-1. I didn't want to go more, believe me.
So you went.
So I couldn't tell him no. I went. He won.
At 20-1.
Yeah, it was a big prize.
Oh,
yeah.
gosh.
Yes.
Oh, wow. You're in the National Hall of Fame for racing.
Yeah.
You got a stakes race named after you. That last race when you broke your neck,
Yeah.
what happened? What did the horse do?
Well, I rode a horse. I rode a horse that day that I shouldn't have been riding. I had told my agent I didn't want to ride a horse because he tries to get in too much. You know, he logged in, and
Oh,
it wasn't
he
like
lugs in toward
yeah,
you.
he logs in. It wasn't like it was a. I just didn't want to get days because it's the horse that it's hard to control. He want to go in. He want to go in the fence. He likes the fence, and if you in the outside, he's gonna go in and shut somebody off, you know. And I didn't. I was trying to avoid that. I hated to get days. So that day, it was the day of the Santa Anita handicap. I had like 7 or 8 mounts, and I told him, I don't want to ride. Last time I rode him, I said I don't because I had tough. He was tough to handle.
See, there are times when a jockey cannot handle a
Yes,
horse.
he
That's how big these horses were.
Yeah, he was tough to handle. So I told my agent I didn't want to ride him. I don't know if he forgot. I know I didn't know. I didn't know because the horse was one of the favorite. He wanted just ride him because thought he could win the race. And when I saw that I was named on the horse, I said I told him not to put me on that horse. I'm gonna call him, tell him to take me off. But and then I started thinking about it. No, maybe I'm okay. You know, maybe it'll be okay. You know, what the hell. And then I was in the outside. Of course, I couldn't drop in the inside because
You
I
didn't want to go there.
I had an outside post. I'm laying there. I'm moving in the outside, coming down the stretch on the grass at Santa Anita, 6.5 on the turf. And here this apprentice kid came inside. He moved inside, but as he moved inside, he sort of drift to the outside. So I'm right at his heels. And when I tried to get away from him, well, my horse, instead of get away from him, my horse started to log in. And I clipped his heels, and I went down. And that's how I broke my neck, you know. But I was walking around for 4 days trying to get back to riding. I didn't know I had a broken neck.
You didn't know?
I didn't know. I had a lot of pain, but the doctor was in a vacation, and they had an apprentice guy over there, and he started moving my neck back and forth. And
When did you find out you broke it?
4 days later. I had my second vertebra broken in 3 places, Maury. I'm lucky I'm walking or alive, believe me.
And because of that, because of the misdiagnosis,
Yes,
you had a lawsuit.
yes,
And
exactly.
you won $2.7 million.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I guess that was your retirement.
that's right. Yeah.
And it hurt now?
No, it bothered me for a long time. It bothered me every time I did exercise or something.
Did you
But-
ever think about
but-
going back?
At the beginning, yes, I thought I could go back, but the doctor told me not to, He said, no, you better, because I had I still had I had some damage there.
Right.
It wasn't straight like it was before, I better just do what the doctor
But at the
said.
same time, you didn't have a distaste for the track.
No,
you still
no.
go. You still go, don't you?
Yeah, oh yeah. No,
You
no,
love
no.
you
Yeah.
love to watch.
Oh
now.
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. I love the track. It bothers me that racing have going down a lot in some places.
Why?
Some places where people don't go to the track.
Oh,
and,
they don't go. First of all,
and-
you can watch on TV now every
yeah,
race in the world.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just as
And
color-
people like to bet, you
Yeah.
know, from their armchairs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where they're betting.
It's
They're
not-
betting from home. You don't even have OTB anymore. You know, you
Yeah.
used to have these offices where you could go. You don't have to do that anymore.
It's not as colorful as it used to be. So
The big days, though, still, I mean, the Triple Crown still gets the,
yeah.
but it's more for entertainment
Yeah.
than anything
well,
else.
Kentucky is great, though. Kentucky is big in racing. Yes.
Still.
Yeah. When I was there, I think it was about a year ago or more than a year. In Keeneland, we went to Keeneland.
Yeah.
Oh no, this is during the pandemic. During the pandemic, I was there, and at the track, nobody had mask.
Really?
Nobody has mask. Yeah, and it was crowd completely full of people. It
You know
was
what?
so
You
nice
know what
to
I
see.
saw one time? How about this? I was at the Keeneland sales when Secretariat had his first foal, and it was the first $1 million foal.
Wow.
And Secretariat was not a good sire for some reason.
Yes.
Does that happen? That great horses
yeah, it
don't become
happens.
great sires?
Yeah, it happens. Oh yeah.
What horse did you ride that became a great sire? Who would you think? Was Swale a good sire or not?
No. There was a horse in California that it's called, this horse, I rode him only 3 times. And I rode it for Richard Mandela.
Richard Mandela?
Yes. And he dropping down this horse from like a lot. He had like a good races in I think in France. And then I think he won or finished second or something, and then he dropped him down for 50,000. And I rode him, and he won easy. And I remember telling Richard, and I hope you didn't lose his horse. And he said, yes, I lost him.
Lost the horse.
Yeah,
to a
somebody
claim.
claimed him.
Right.
And I said, wow, this horse got a lot of potential. This is a good horse. He said, yeah, but he's got a tendon that it started to bother him a little bit. And I don't know how many races he's got left. So I said, okay, so I rode him next time. And I rode the horse. I knew that he had a problem, but there's a lot of horses that have a problem. And he won again. But it was a little worse. And then the next time, I was on the horse again, and I said, boy, I know this horse is not that good right now, And he won again. He won 3 times, and this time...
And you thought, with being a little hurt.
Yeah. And this time, he didn't pull up good. So the trainer that had him, the owner put him in for reproduction, for a stallion. He became the best sire in California.
Wow.
Yeah.
With a horse you didn't think would.
Yeah. I mean, I knew he could run, but I didn't know if he was going to be a good sire or not. And he became the best sire in California.
So Laffit, I own racehorses. They're not big ones, but I've bought some at yearling sales, and I own. I have 2 horses. This is how really precarious horses and horse racing are. I had a horse. He's a great horse. His name was Always in a Hurry. I named him because everybody thinks I'm always in a hurry. He was the son of a good sire named Great Notion, and so he won 3 stakes races for me at Laurel in Maryland. He won over $500,000, and this year he's a gelding. He's 6, ready to. He gets sick.
Wow.
I had to put him down. They had to put him down.
Yeah.
I had another horse. He was the son of Nyquist, who won the Kentucky Derby. His name and his grandfather was Uncle Mo, another great horse.
Yeah.
And so I named this horse Moquist. Moquist wins first 4 races. A filly. She wins her first 4 races. Now she's going into her big stakes race on the track for her last workout, breaks her leg. I have to put her down.
Wow.
Now, my trainer, he's a great trainer, Dale Capuano from Maryland. He was just in tears. These, I would say, trainers and wouldn't that happen all the time?
Oh, definitely happening.
They get so close to horses.
Yes.
And it's like one of the family.
Yeah.
And it's unbelievable. So I still now have about 3 or 4 3-year-olds. And I race in Maryland at Pimlico and Laurel and places like that. And I just, it's kind of a legacy to my father because my father covered every major sport, but his favorite sports to cover were boxing, baseball, horse racing.
Horse racing, wow.
More than football, more than tennis, more than basketball. I'm telling you. And I think it's because even it's the individual effort of the horse and the jockey, or of the individuals on a baseball team. It's still individuals. And boxing, of course, it's individuals.
Yeah.
Because that's where you can make the best stories.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, all the great writers, Red Smith, my father, Jim Murray in Los Angeles.
Jim Murray, I remember.
They loved to cover horse racing. Loved it.
Yeah.
The competition, the fact that the jockey and the horse ends up as a major character.
Yes.
Because they have all kinds of different traits. So, I mean, you ought to be proud of that profession that you've been in. It's a delight to see you.
Yeah. Well, I to tell you the truth, Maury, I just started going to the track and become a jockey just to work, to do something to help my mother. I never.
You just wanted to help your mother.
The more I won, the more surprised I was. Believe me, it wasn't like I know what I'm doing. And sometimes I said, God, I don't know why I'm winning so many races,
Right.
Because I felt like I was doing the same thing like the other guys.
Right.
The only thing is that I always, I remember the trainer, when I started, there was a school over there, but it wasn't like a school, like you go to a classroom. No.
Right.
We just, in the corner of a barn, we get together with the kids. We were like 5 or 6 kids that used to trying to become a jockey. And we call him the professor. Bolivar Moreno was his name. He was a retired jockey. And he gave us classes or tips on how to ride a horse. And I remember one time, I think me and somebody else, we only 2 show up for that class. And I remember he's telling me.
You're like, what, 16, 17?
I was 15.
15.
That's when I started going. He said to me, listen, I'm going to give you a good advice. Always try to be in good shape. Because you never know when you're going to need all your strength and energy to win a race. And I never forgot that. I always try to be in good shape, no matter what.
People don't understand how tired
Yeah.
you get during a race. Is that right? We're talking about,
Yeah.
within 2 minutes.
Yeah. Let me tell you another story. One time I had a broken collarbone, and I wasn't in shape to ride. If you stay 3-4 days without riding, you get out of shape. Unless you work horses. My agent called me. He says a filly called, I think it was some filly was riding here in New York, Gamely, I think it was. She's gonna run in New York, and the trainer don't know if you can ride her. And I said, listen, I'll ride her. Don't worry, I'll go and ride her. Good filly, really a good filly. And I started walking, and trying to exercise more and trying to get in shape. And you know what I did? I came to New York to ride the filly. I took a cab. I went to a place called the Silver Tower in Queens. That I used to have an apartment there, rent an apartment there. And I told the taxi driver, I said, you wait for me over here. I'm going to go inside, and I'll be back later. I went all the way up in the stairs. I already had my jogging suit and everything, jogging one of those.
Running up the stairs?
I went all the way up.
A high rise?
Yes, in the stair, trying to open up my lungs. And came down, walking. I was so tired, Maury.
Trying to get in shape.
And I came back, and I'm all sweaty, and I said, okay, you take me to the track now. I went to the track. I rode my filly. She won, and I felt really good,
That was how you got into shape?
Yes.
Running up a high rise.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, by the way, before I get to that, I got to do this. First of all, this is a great documentary on Laffit. It's called All About Winning.
Yes.
And it's narrated by an acquaintance of mine, Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner.
Of all people.
Yeah.
I didn't even know Kevin knew anything about horse racing.
He had a horse. I rode a horse for him.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he had a horse one time. I rode him for him. I think he finished third.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea that Kevin had a horse.
Yeah.
Well, that's something we have in common, because I played golf with Kevin.
Oh, wow.
At the AT&T in Pebble Beach. We played a practice round with Kevin and Tiger Woods.
Oh, wow.
We had a lot of fun. But and I used to see Kevin at golf tournaments when he would show up. So he's an old acquaintance.
Yeah.
So that's out. And meanwhile, Laffit, The Anatomy of a Winner. How about that? Good book.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
I'm glad you brought it. All right. So we've reached the end, and we normally have what we call a 19th hole, which means I kind of turn the tables, and you get a chance, if you want, to ask me any question you want to about anything.
How is your golf game?
My golf game?
Yeah.
My golf, well, I'll tell you, I'm so old that if I shoot my age, I'm suicidal. If I don't shoot well under my age, I will go crazy.
Wow.
So I'm still playing pretty good golf.
Okay, good.
And my handicap is 4.8.
Ooh.
So what can I tell you?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
But the fact that you're playing well now.
Yeah.
You said you shot 83. It's pretty good.
I shot 83. Yeah.
All right. I want to thank everybody for listening today, watching. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at OnParPod for behind-the-scenes content and updates. And don't forget, you can catch the full episodes on YouTube and everywhere that you love to listen to podcasts. And remember, always keep the conversation going. That's the key. Stay curious, like Laffit. He's as curious a jockey as I've ever met. We'll see you next time. Thank you, Laffit.
All right, thank you, Maury. Thank you for having me.
On Par with Maury Povich is brought to you by Mopo Productions, A Better Life Media, and Radley Studios. Executive produced by Maury Povich, Holly J. Mirabella, Christian Thompson, and supervising producer Mike Bornasian.